No mortal hand shall ever violate my final resting place. Legend whispered that these were the words, not of a woman fearing intrusion, but of Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, determined to remain undisturbed for eternity. She sought to elude not simply men, but all living souls. Yet fate, as it often does, had a twist in store, for it was indeed a woman who came closer than any before to unveiling the secrets of the Queen's hidden tomb. Let us introduce Kathleen Martinez Bry, a name that might surprise you. A criminal lawyer by trade, she underwent a remarkable transformation into a dedicated archaeologist. Consumed by Cleopatra's enigmatic story, she embarked on a daring expedition to Egypt, fueled solely by an unwavering determination. Imagine her, setting foot on ancient soil without official backing, without even explicit permission from the Egyptian authorities. Kathleen was a woman of exceptional talents. A prodigy who accelerated through school, she mastered the arts of piano, chess, swimming, and even martial arts. Her home was a crucible of intellectual debate, where she absorbed knowledge from the finest minds. By the age of 19, she had already earned her law degree, yet archaeology remained her cherished passion. Though she had never set foot in Egypt, never unearthed a single artifact, her fascination with Cleopatra burned brightly. The spark was ignited in 1990 during a spirited debate with her father. She sought a copy of Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra in his vast library. Her father, Fausto Martinez, a respected professor and legal expert, casually dismissed Cleopatra as a mere seductress. Kathleen, however, would not stand for it. She countered with fierce conviction, arguing that history had unjustly tarnished Cleopatra's name. The Romans, she asserted, had deliberately crafted a narrative to destroy her legacy, and for centuries, the world had blindly accepted their version of the story. The debate raged for hours, until finally her father conceded that perhaps he had judged Cleopatra too harshly. That conversation proved to be a pivotal moment in Kathleen's life. From that day forward, she devoured every ancient text she could find, with particular focus on Plutarch's accounts of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. The more she learned, the more convinced she became that Cleopatra was not simply a queen who succumbed to love. She was a brilliant strategist, navigating a treacherous political landscape to safeguard Egypt's independence. A tantalizing thought began to take root in her mind. What if everyone had been searching for Cleopatra's tomb in the wrong location? The idea lingered, refusing to be dismissed. While raising her second child, she pursued a master's degree in archaeology, showcasing her incredible ability to juggle multiple responsibilities. This reignited an obsession that would soon consume her life, driving her to unearth the truth about Cleopatra. While most experts believe that Cleopatra's tomb, along with the final resting places of 13 other Ptolemaic rulers, lay somewhere beneath the bustling city of modern-day Alexandria, Dr. Martinez dared to propose a different theory. She believed that Cleopatra was entombed at Taposiris Magna, an ancient temple dedicated to Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife. But she needed irrefutable proof. She sought an ancient foundation plate. These plates, about the size of a modern smartphone, were placed beneath important temple structures and often bore inscriptions detailing the temple's construction and purpose. If she could unearth a plate confirming that the temple was dedicated to Isis, Cleopatra's patron deity, she would have the solid evidence she needed to validate her theory. Nothing could deter Martinez. She meticulously excavated the entire temple site, delving deeper than any explorer before her. Her team unearthed coins bearing Cleopatra's name and likeness, confirming the queen's direct connection to the site. Then they stumbled upon an even more intriguing discovery. A tunnel, once used to supply water to the temple, stretching directly from the temple to the Mediterranean Sea. Could it be that parts of the temple had already succumbed to the sea? Could Cleopatra's tomb lie submerged beneath the waves? Martinez needed compelling evidence to persuade the Egyptian authorities to authorize an underwater search. Against all odds, she found the missing foundation plate. The inscription revealed that a pharaoh had dedicated a vast area of Nubia to the deity Isis. This was the breakthrough she had been seeking, the confirmation that her theory was not merely speculation. If one temple stood on land, Martinez reasoned. Then the second temple, possibly Cleopatra's tomb, had collapsed into the sea. She needed the expertise of underwater archaeologists. She reached out to Robert Ballard, the renowned oceanographer who discovered the wreck of the Titanic. With the support of the Egyptian authorities, she and her team embarked on an exploration of the waters off the coast of Alexandria. What they discovered was astonishing. Beneath the waves, they found colossal stone structures, some towering 6 to 10 feet in height, precisely where the coastline would have been thousands of years ago. They also found basalt blocks, the same material used in the statues from the first temple. This could only mean one thing. These were not just random rocks. They were the remnants of a lost city, buried beneath the sea for centuries. Now, we can only wait and see whether Martinez and her team. Imagine stepping into a time machine, setting the dial not for tomorrow, but for millennia past. Our destination? The submerged wonders of the ancient world. Forget dusty museums. We're diving into history itself, exploring cities swallowed by the relentless embrace of the ocean. Our first stop, Baia, a sunken Roman playground. Picture this: mosaic-covered floors, the echoes of laughter and revelry, long silenced by the waves. We're not just looking at ruins, we're swimming through them. To your left, a collection of classical Greek statues, eerily preserved, their marble forms now adorned with marine life. This is no ordinary museum, this is Claudio's Nymphaeum, a testament to Roman extravagance. Gliding down the Via Herculania, we arrive at Villa Aproco. These were once lavish Italian-style houses, and here, even beneath the waves, you can still admire their original marble floors. Notice the intricate black and white patterns, the astounding shapes that hint at the artistry of a bygone era. Next, we approach Portus Julius. Can you make out the collapsing wall structures at the bottom of the seafloor? Peer closely, and you'll see remarkably well-preserved columns and limestone floors, silent witnesses to the city's bustling past. And behold the ruins of the thermal baths of Lycus. The remaining multicolored mosaics are a sight to behold, their orange, blue, and green tiles shimmering in the filtered sunlight. At Pons Vapilla, a breathtaking sight awaits. 25 preserved Roman pillars, standing as proud sentinels of a lost civilization. Notice the elegant arches, the faint traces of frescoes nearby, and the sheer magnitude of this well-kept treasure. This city was strategically located over natural volcanic vents, providing a constant source of hot springs for the pleasure of its inhabitants. People flocked here seeking leisure and relaxation, and when we say people, we're talking about some of the most famous Roman emperors we learned about in school: Nero, Cicero, Caesar. But around the 8th century, disaster struck. The city was sacked, its opulence plundered, and the once thriving town was abandoned. Slowly, inexorably, the water level rose, and Baia began its descent into the depths. Now, shift your perspective. You're on a summer vacation off the coast of Greece, 4 hours outside of Athens, on the Peloponnese Peninsula at Pavlopetri. The sun is blazing, the water is crystal clear, and you're ready for a free dive. You dust off your snorkel and plunge into the inviting sea. Soon, patterns emerge on the seabed, subtle at first, then increasingly distinct. Just 13 feet below the surface, the outlines of familiar objects begin to take shape. As you swim further, what appears to be the blueprint of an entire city emerges before your very eyes. How could water have swallowed an entire city? The very stones are perfectly aligned, forming what can only be the foundations of buildings. This incredible sight was discovered by Nicholas Fleming, a British oceanographer on vacation in Greece. He was meticulously documenting seafloor artifacts when he stumbled upon Pavlopetri. The team unearthed a treasure trove of artifacts, pots, storage vessels, and tools that offered glimpses into the lives of its inhabitants. A quernstone, for instance, a tool used for grinding grains into flour. Multiple amphorae, ancient storage jars, suggest that this settlement dates back to the Bronze Age, 5,500 years ago, when humans first began to coalesce into towns. The settlement is believed to have thrived for over 2,400 years. Pavlopetri is considered the oldest submerged town yet discovered, and it wasn't just a simple village. It was a vibrant port city, complete with stone-built buildings, a bustling marketplace, well-defined streets, and even public squares. Let's continue our underwater exploration, venturing further into the depths to uncover more secrets held by these submerged cities. Our next destination lies off the coast of the Ryukyu Islands in the Pacific Ocean. Here, the waters are far from calm. A powerful current threatens to pull you into the abyss. Suddenly, a colossal structure looms into view, illuminated by the sunlight piercing the depths. At first glance, it resembles the ruins of Machu Picchu, transposed to the ocean floor. But as you approach, its true form becomes clear. A colossal pyramid-shaped structure, complete with arches and staircases. It could easily have been a palace or a castle. Could this be another sign of ancient human activity? What you are witnessing is known as the Yonaguni Monument, also referred to as Japan's Atlantis. This immense structure is roughly the size of 5 football fields and as tall as a 5-story building. Perhaps its most striking feature is its expansive terraces, which seem designed for large gatherings. Explorers and scientists estimate that Yonaguni dates back as far as 10,000 years ago. However, its origins remain shrouded in mystery. Was it crafted by human hands, or is it a natural formation sculpted by the relentless forces of nature? The debate continues to rage. Professor Masaki Kimura, Japan's leading marine geologist, is a firm believer that Yonaguni is the legacy of a lost civilization. Kimura has dived into the ruins over 100 times in the past decade. He asserts that there is undeniable evidence of human activity down there. The triangle pool located on the monument's surface, a triangle-shaped concave feature, mirrors a historical symbol for water fountains in the region. There is also a colossal turtle carved into the eastern side of the structure, and according to Kimura, turtles hold profound cultural significance in this part of the world. Furthermore, numerous stone tools have been recovered from the site, their estimated age placing them at around 10,000 years old. However, not all scientists share Kimura's conviction. Many argue that Yonaguni is the result of millennia of erosion. The fact that the monument is composed of a single massive rock formation leads them to believe that it is not man-made. The defined edges and flat surfaces bear a striking resemblance to a natural formation in Northern Ireland, known as the Giant's Causeway. There, a series of interlocking basalt columns create an illusion of a ruined palace, but they are entirely the product of geological processes. Let's journey to the ocean depths, where the remnants of ancient catastrophes and forgotten civilizations await discovery. Our first dive takes us to a region scarred by the raw power of volcanic activity, a landscape forever altered by subterranean forces. But hold your breath, for even more underwater marvels are on the horizon. Next, we arrive at one of the most renowned underwater cities, a place transformed into an underwater archaeological park. We're heading to Port Royal, Jamaica. Today, it exists only beneath the waves, but in 1692, it stood as one of the wealthiest cities in the Western Hemisphere. Imagine a bustling hub, the very heart of the British Empire in the region, a thriving trade center drawing people from every corner of the globe. It was even a haven for real-life pirates of the Caribbean. But on the morning of June 7, 1692, fate delivered a devastating blow. The vibrant life of Port Royal, its bars and restaurants teeming with activity, was shattered in an instant. The ground began to shake violently, throwing people from their beds as a massive earthquake, estimated at a staggering 7.4 on the Richter scale, ripped through the city. One survivor recounted seeing the earth open up, swallowing the town hall whole. His account rings true, as much of Port Royal was built on unstable sand. The ground became a ravenous maw, consuming buildings, roads, and the people who stood upon them. Geysers erupted from the earth, and then towering waves as high as 10-story buildings crashed upon the city. In mere moments, approximately 33 acres of Port Royal vanished beneath the waves. Incredibly, much of the 17th century city remains remarkably well preserved under 40 feet of water. Within these submerged ruins, archaeologists have unearthed taverns, storage rooms, kitchens, and recreational buildings, each a testament to the city's vibrant past. We can see a grand lion statue, a submerged bridge, and countless picturesque arches, all silent witnesses to a bygone era. Now, let's set our sights eastward, to the shores of India. Just off its coast lies another sunken marvel, a site known as the lost city of Cambay, nestled in the gulf of the same name. This ancient metropolis remained hidden until 2001, when the National Institute of Ocean Technology conducted a routine water assessment. Using sonar technology, which sends sound waves to the ocean floor, they discovered something extraordinary far beneath the surface. The images revealed well-defined geometric shapes spread across a 5-mile stretch. The remains discovered at the site date back more than 9,500 years, placing this civilization at the end of the last ice age. Among the debris recovered were construction materials, pottery, beads, sculptures, and even bones. While some scientists debate the origin of these artifacts, their presence suggests that the lost city of Cambay could be the oldest civilization ever discovered. Our journey now takes us to the tropical lowlands of northern Guatemala, where researchers have recently uncovered nearly 1,000 previously hidden Maya settlements. This incredible discovery was made possible through the use of LiDAR, light detection and ranging lasers, which were used to scan the area from the air. The region in question is vast, with structures and buildings stretching across approximately 650 square miles. These sites were occupied thousands of years ago, revealing a densely populated landscape where people lived in close proximity to one another. The researchers identified at least 417 ancient villages, towns, and cities, each with clearly defined boundaries. These structures and buildings were once part of a sophisticated state, resembling a kingdom. These settlements included sports courts, civic, ceremonial, and religious centers, as well as residential homes. Massive palaces, platforms, dams, pyramids, and causeways crisscrossed the landscape. The inhabitants also constructed reservoirs to collect and store water. The sheer scale of these settlements suggests a highly organized society, capable of mobilizing thousands of specialists and workers. Skilled individuals were needed to build these structures without the aid of modern technology. Lime producers, architects, mortar and quarry specialists, and lithic technicians were all essential to the construction process. The establishment of a true community also required those who could enforce laws and fulfill other vital roles. The laser scanning system used by the researchers is capable of penetrating even the densest ecosystems and vegetation. The light bounces off various surfaces, creating a digitally reconstructed map based on the time it takes for the pulses to return to a receiver. This technology also revealed the presence of lowlands used for agriculture. The question arises, why did the Maya choose to settle in this particular region? Building such an impressive kingdom in a tropical rainforest climate presented unique challenges. In ancient times, most civilizations thrived in drier climates, where they could develop water resources that served as the foundation of society. Teotihuacan in highland Mexico serves as a prime example. While the Maya had navigable rivers that could be used for transport and trade, the rainforest also offered its own advantages. The Maya utilized natural resources. Imagine a lost world hidden deep within the jungles of Mesoamerica. Here, centuries ago, a mighty civilization flourished, the Maya. They were resourceful, ingenious, and deeply connected to the land. They built their cities from the very earth, utilizing resources like limestone, their primary building block, and the dark, glassy volcanic rock, obsidian, which they crafted into tools of all kinds. These ancient people sought out pockets of dry land amidst the sprawling wetlands to raise their homes and build their lives. The lowlands, often seasonal swamps known as bajos, proved surprisingly fertile, offering rich soil perfect for agriculture. The Maya were masterful planners, constructing settlements designed to withstand the unpredictable forces of nature. They anticipated floods and droughts, incorporating resilience into the very foundations of their homes. The grandeur of their architecture speaks volumes about their society, a centralized kingdom, a testament to their unity and collective strength in the face of adversity. The Mayan Empire reached its zenith around the 6th century CE, a period marked by remarkable achievements in pottery, agriculture, writing, mathematics, and calendrical systems. They were the architects of complex calendars, including the calendar round, ingeniously based on the solar year of 365 days. Misconceptions abound, of course. Some believe the Mayan calendar foretold the end of the world on December 21st, 2012. In reality, this date merely marked the conclusion of a grand cycle, a vast period they called the Long Count calendar, stretching across 5,225 years. The Mayan people bequeathed to us an awe-inspiring legacy of architecture and symbolic artistry. Yet by 900 CE, many of their magnificent stone cities lay abandoned, shrouded in mystery. The reasons for this societal collapse remain a subject of intense debate among historians and archaeologists. Some theorize that by the 9th century, the Maya had depleted the natural resources surrounding their cities, straining their ability to feed and sustain their burgeoning population. Others suggest that internal strife, rivalries between city-states, fractured the traditional power structures that had once held them together. Still others point to prolonged periods of drought as the primary catalyst for their decline. Perhaps the truth lies in a combination of these factors, a confluence of ecological, social, and climatic pressures. Remarkably, one Mayan city, nestled on an island, defied the prevailing trend. It endured until the 17th century, long after its sister cities had fallen into ruin or been abandoned. Today, travelers might recognize this resilient settlement by its modern name, Flores. Scientists estimate that around 2,000 people called this island city home. The earliest Maya were, at their heart, farmers. They cultivated essential crops like beans, squash, corn, and cassava. Their agricultural bounty provided the foundation for a rich and diverse culinary tradition, giving rise to hundreds of unique and flavorful recipes, many of which persist to this day. Modern Mexican cuisine, in particular, owes a debt to the Mayan palate, with ingredients like papayas, cacao, avocados, squash, pineapples, and chili peppers remaining staples. While the Maya primarily practiced a form of slash-and-burn agriculture, evidence suggests that they also employed more advanced farming techniques, such as terracing and irrigation, to maximize their yields. And let's not forget their love of chocolate. More than 3,500 years ago, the Maya were already indulging in this delectable treat. While the Olmec civilization of Mesoamerica may have been the first to recognize the potential of the cacao bean, it was the Maya who elevated chocolate making to an art form. Archaeological discoveries of cacao residue in Mayan pottery confirm their passion for this beverage. Their chocolate concoctions were far from the simple sweets we know today. They mixed cacao with honey, water, cornmeal, and, intriguingly, chili peppers. The result was a spicy, savory, and stimulating hot chocolate beverage, a taste of which can still be experienced in parts of Mexico and Central America. The Maya were also masters of written language. They crafted paper from the bark of fig trees, meticulously creating long strips that were then folded to form books. These books, known as codices, served as repositories of knowledge and history. Sadly, only 4 of these ancient texts survive to this day, the rest lost to the ravages of time, the humid climate, and human actions. The classic Maya left behind a stunning array of palaces and temples, often built in the form of stepped pyramids. These structures were adorned with intricate inscriptions and reliefs, solidifying their reputation as exceptional artists of Mesoamerica. Aesthetics held a prominent place in Mayan society. A flattened forehead was considered a mark of beauty. They went to great lengths to achieve this look, reflecting their dedication to aesthetic ideals. They enhanced their appearance with elaborate makeup and clothing, showcasing their refined sense of style. Furthermore, the Maya were pioneers in the art of tattooing. They were among the first civilizations to embrace this form of body art. Their culture was rich in beliefs, including a deep connection to the spirit world. They believed in mythical creatures, similar to fairies known as aluxes. The Maya would craft small sculptures of these aluxes from wood or clay and hide them in secret places within the forest, believing that these figures possessed protective powers. Imagine, if you will, stepping back in time, far beyond recorded history. Let's journey to the world of the ancient Maya, a civilization that flourished in Central America for centuries. As darkness fell, they believed that certain animals would awaken, transforming into guardians of their lands, protectors of their crops, and watchful sentinels over their people. The Maya held caves in particular reverence, viewing them as sacred portals, the very entrances to Xibalba, their underworld. Today, you can still visit these ancient sites. Picture yourself exploring the dense jungles of Quintana Roo and the Yucatan Peninsula near Cancun. In these verdant depths, researchers have unearthed countless artifacts, remnants of the Mayan civilization, whispering tales of their ingenuity and beliefs. These resourceful people were among the first to master the use of rubber latex. Imagine them, centuries ago, crafting rubber balls from this natural material for their many unique and engaging games. They extracted the latex and mixed it with other naturally occurring substances, creating balls with a remarkable bounce. But their ingenuity didn't stop there. The Maya also constructed elaborate steam baths. They built stone structures that bear a striking resemblance to modern bathtubs. Moreover, they created heated stone enclosures similar to what we know as sweat lodges. Archaeologists have discovered these structures in El Salvador and Guatemala, long hidden beneath layers of volcanic ash, preserved for millennia. Now, let's venture to a place that seems ripped from the pages of science fiction. Imagine a cave, isolated from the outside world for an astonishing 5.5 million years. This isolation has fostered an environment unlike any other on Earth. Welcome to the Movile Cave. Due to its prolonged separation from the surface, the conditions within the Movile Cave are unique on our planet. Here, a singular ecosystem thrives, defying expectations. Even though sunlight is completely absent and the air is laden with toxins, life persists. This remarkable cave, located a few miles west of the Black Sea in Romania, was first discovered in 1986. Today, access is strictly controlled, requiring special permission. Furthermore, the central caverns are naturally guarded by a labyrinth of narrow limestone tunnels and treacherous vertical shafts. If you are susceptible to claustrophobia, this is likely a place best avoided. Deep within the cave, the air contains half the oxygen of the outside world. Instead, it is saturated with carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, far from the freshest air you could breathe. The darkness is absolute, an impenetrable blackness that has reigned for millennia. However, despite, or perhaps because of, this cocktail of extreme conditions, the Movile Cave is a treasure trove for biologists. Amazingly, life is not just surviving, it's flourishing. In a 1996 study, scientists identified 48 distinct species, an incredible 33 of which were found nowhere else on Earth. Most of these creatures are small, with elongated limbs and antennae, perfectly adapted for navigating the perpetual darkness. They possess no vision and lack pigmentation, a testament to the power of evolution. Why would they need sight in a world without light? And why would they need vibrant colors when there is no one to see them? Now, let's journey to another cave, equally amazing, but dramatically different. Prepare to be awestruck by the giant crystal cave, also known as the Cave of Crystals, in Mexico. These colossal crystals were discovered in 2000 by miners after the cave's water was pumped out. Imagine the miners' astonishment as they entered the drying cave on foot, their lamps illuminating these breathtaking formations. These awe-inspiring crystals are, in fact, massive gypsum pillars, hidden almost 1,000 feet beneath the surface. They are anchored to the walls and floor of the scorching hot cave. Scientists estimate that these crystals have been growing for perhaps 500,000 years. That's why many are so immense, so long and wide that you could walk across them. Unfortunately, visiting this natural wonder is currently impossible. Perhaps this is for the best, as the giant crystal cave is a perilous environment, easily becoming a deadly trap. For tens of thousands of years, it was filled with groundwater, forced upwards into the opening by a magma chamber deep within the earth. The magma beneath the cave kept the water heated, but eventually the temperature dipped below 103.58°. As a result, the water became saturated with calcium and sulfate, which began to recombine into gypsum. Over eons, these particles formed the magnificent, white-tinted crystals that now dominate the cave. Because they remained submerged, they were able to continue their slow, steady growth, creating the breathtaking spectacle we see today. You don't need to travel to outer space to witness something akin to a black hole. Scientists have discovered phenomena in the southern Atlantic Ocean that bear a striking resemblance to these cosmic anomalies. A black hole possesses such immense gravitational pull that nothing, not even light, can escape its grasp once it crosses the event horizon. Oceanic black holes, or eddies, may not be quite as powerful as their celestial counterparts, but they exhibit similar behavior. Instead of trapping light, they ensnare water. Ocean eddies are colossal whirlpools that spin in opposition to the main current. They typically involve billions of tons of water, and many are larger than entire cities. These whirlpools are so powerful that nothing trapped within their grasp can escape. Imagine drifting on the open ocean, sunlight glinting off the waves. But lurking beneath the surface are unseen perils. Colossal ocean vortices. These aren't your average whirlpools. They are so immense that escape becomes nearly impossible. The most unsettling aspect: you might unwittingly sail straight into one. These oceanic giants possess boundaries so vast that detection is often too late. It wasn't until scientists deployed satellites to study ocean currents that they began to unravel the mystery of these swirling behemoths, identifying the edges of numerous eddies. Through complex mathematical modeling, they demonstrated that these whirlpools share striking similarities with the enigmatic black holes of space. Massive eddies are defined by incredibly tight barriers, where the water moves in perpetual closed loops. Even individual water molecules find it difficult to escape these swirling confines. Because of this, large ocean vortices act like immense natural containers. The water within can be drastically different from the surrounding ocean. This difference isn't just about temperature. Salinity levels inside and outside the vortex can vary significantly. Now let's journey to a peculiar location on the Curonian Spit, a slender strip of land separating the Baltic Sea from the Curonian Lagoon. Here lies one of the most unusual forests on Earth, the dancing forest. The pine trees here exhibit bizarre, almost unnatural shapes, twisting and contorting into spirals and circles along the ground. Numerous theories attempt to explain this strange phenomenon. Some attribute it to clashing positive and negative energies concentrated in the area. More pragmatic explanations point to geological factors, suggesting that the sandy soil is too unstable to support upright growth. The most widely accepted theory suggests that strong winds blowing off the water sculpt the trees into their unusual forms. Despite the speculation, experts have yet to reach a definitive conclusion. Next, we travel underwater to witness an even more mysterious sight: underwater crop circles. First discovered in 1995 off the coast of southern Japan, local divers dubbed these 7-foot-wide formations mystery circles. For nearly 16 years, the enigma persisted, baffling marine biologists and divers alike, until the culprit was finally revealed. To the surprise of the researchers, the artist behind these elaborate circles was a male pufferfish. It takes these dedicated fish over a week to construct just one circle. Aesthetics are clearly paramount. The male pufferfish meticulously swims within the circle, using his fins to carve valleys into the sand. But his artistry doesn't stop there. He also adorns specific sections of the circle with carefully placed shells and corals. This elaborate construction serves a practical purpose. As the male swims, he pushes sand towards the center, creating a mound that will eventually serve as a nest for his offspring. Our journey continues to the Caribbean, just off the coast of Belize, where we encounter a breathtaking natural wonder: the Great Blue Hole. This colossal sinkhole stretches approximately 1,000 feet across and plunges to depths exceeding 400 feet. Long ago, this was a vast, dry cave system. Over time, rising sea levels filled the cave, causing its roof to collapse, creating the sinkhole we see today. As you descend into the crystalline waters of the Great Blue Hole, the light fades and the depths grow darker. You'll see countless stalactites, remnants of the ancient cave. But entering these submerged caverns is fraught with danger, risking disorientation and getting hopelessly lost. At around 50 feet, you'll notice a shimmering effect in the water, marking the boundary between the sinkhole's salty upper layer and the freshwater abyss below. Perhaps it's a good time to turn back, as who knows what lurks in those murky depths. Deep in the Amazon, an ancient legend spoke of a river so hot it boiled. For generations, it was dismissed as mere folklore until Peruvian geoscientist Andres Russo began to question its validity. Experts dismissed the possibility, pointing out that hot rivers typically exist only in volcanic regions, and the area mentioned in the legend lacked any volcanic activity. But Russo persisted, and in 2011, he located the legendary river. The water was indeed steaming hot, reaching temperatures of 180 degrees, not quite boiling, but dangerously close. What astonished Russo most was the river's scale. While underwater hot springs can create small thermal pools, this river was immense, flowing for nearly 4 miles and reaching depths of 20 feet. It remains the only river of its kind on Earth. Everyone knows the Sahara. It's the largest hot desert in the world, a vast sea of sand covering an area larger than the contiguous United States. But what lies hidden beneath those towering dunes? To answer that question, we must journey back in time, thousands of years into the past. Until about 6,000 years ago, the Sahara wasn't a desert at all. It was a lush, green grassland. Humans thrived here, spreading agriculture across the region. In the north of Africa, imagine a prehistoric Sahara, a world bathed in green. Millions of years ago, this wasn't the arid wasteland we know today. Instead, picture a vibrant landscape, teeming with life, where the dominant color was green. Abundant rainfall nourished a network of lakes and rivers, sprawling pastures stretched as far as the eye could see, and dense forests flourished. It's a stark contrast to the barren, sun-baked dunes of the modern Sahara. But then, inexorably, the climate began to shift. The life-giving rains diminished, the land grew parched, and the lush vegetation began to wither and die. The relentless wind took over, stripping away the fine sediment, now that there were no longer plant roots to bind the earth together. Over millennia, the familiar image of the Sahara emerged, an endless expanse of sand and rock baking under the scorching sun. Yet, the reality of the Sahara is more complex than a simple sea of sand. In terms of sheer volume, only about a quarter of the Sahara is actually covered in sand. The iconic yellow dunes are just one facet of this vast and multifaceted landscape. The desert also encompasses gravel plains, shimmering salt flats, and towering plateaus. This begs the question, do we truly understand what defines a desert? For geologists, the scientists who study these terrains, the defining characteristic of a desert is precipitation. If an area receives little or no rainfall, it qualifies as a desert, regardless of its surface composition. The Sahara certainly fits this definition, with an average annual rainfall of a mere 3 inches. To put that in perspective, New York City receives nearly 45 inches of rain each year. When considering precipitation levels, this seemingly endless sandy desert is only the 3rd largest in the world. The top 2 spots are held by Antarctica and the Arctic, both polar deserts that dwarf the Sahara by millions of square miles. It may seem counterintuitive, but there's more than one kind of desert. While the Sahara is classified as a subtropical desert, the polar deserts of Antarctica and the Arctic experience drastically different air temperatures. In the interior of Antarctica, temperatures can plummet to a bone-chilling 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Contrast that with the Sahara's record high of 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet the Sahara also possesses a cool side. At night, temperatures can drop to levels comparable to the average yearly temperature in Denmark. This extreme temperature fluctuation makes choosing the right attire a real challenge for anyone venturing into the Sahara. And what about the sand itself? How deep does it go? The depth of the sand varies considerably, ranging from approximately 70 to 140 feet. That's not as deep as you might imagine. If you were to place the Statue of Liberty on top of a tall dune, about half of it would still be visible above the sand. The immense quantities of sand in the Sahara were primarily shaped by aeolian processes, a term derived from the Greek word for wind, Aeolus, the god of the winds. Over vast stretches of time, the wind relentlessly sculpts the Earth's surface. In arid regions with scant vegetation, wind erosion occurs at an accelerated rate. This is precisely what happened in North Africa. Beneath the shifting sands lies the bedrock and cracked clay of the Sahara. If you were to dig down, you'd find a similar geological structure everywhere on the planet, with one crucial difference. Almost everywhere else, some form of soil covers the bedrock. This isn't the case in the Sahara. Due to the arid climate and the lack of plant life, sand directly blankets the ground below. Over the course of millennia, countless intriguing artifacts have become buried beneath the desert sands. Petrified tree trunks, for example, are relatively common finds. These are essentially prehistoric trees that have been preserved through fossilization, dating back to the era when the region was a lush, green paradise. In some locations, the fossilized trees of these ancient forests stand at least 65 feet tall. The wood is so remarkably preserved that you can still discern its texture and the patterns of its knots. There are even fossilized pine cones, silent witnesses to a bygone era. In 1992, scientists discovered fragments of glass scattered across hundreds of miles in the eastern Sahara. These shards of canary yellow glass were clearly not the product of an ancient civilization, although ancient Egyptians did utilize them to craft jewelry. In fact, the breastplate of King Tutankhamun featured a stunning scarab beetle centerpiece fashioned from this very desert glass. For many years, the origins of these mysterious glass fragments baffled scientists. Eventually, they determined that the glass was approximately 29 million years old and was the result of an impact event. If the term impact suggests a collision, you're on the right track. These rocks are formed when a meteorite strikes the Earth's surface with tremendous force, generating intense heat. Scientists estimate that the temperature required to melt the minerals into this glass was close to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Thus, in addition to the familiar fine-grained sand, the Sahara also contains melted sand, a testament to the power of cosmic events. But the desert holds even more unexpected treasures. Shark teeth are commonly found in Morocco, located in the Western Sahara. What are the fossilized teeth of these marine predators doing in the heart of the desert? The answer lies in the region's distant past. Millions of years ago, this part of the world looked radically different. A sea once bisected what is now the Sahara Desert. The Trans-Saharan Seaway stretched across the territories of modern-day Algeria and Mali, reaching a depth of around 165 feet. That was sufficient to support a diverse array of aquatic creatures. Giant catfish, sea snakes, and, of course, sharks thrived in these waters. Imagine, if you will, a prehistoric turtle, its ancient shell unearthed in the sands of Mali during the 1980s. But the desert holds more secrets than just ancient fauna. Let's journey back in time to discover a lost city, swallowed whole by the relentless Sahara. We find ourselves in the Roman era, around the year 100 AD. Emperor Trajan, seeking to expand Rome's influence, orders the construction of a fortified outpost, Timgad. For centuries, this city thrives, a testament to Roman engineering and ambition. But fate is fickle. Around the year 700, for reasons lost to the shifting sands of time, the inhabitants abandon their homes. The desert, patient and ever-encroaching, reclaims its territory. For nearly 1,000 years, Timgad vanishes, buried beneath a sea of sand. Then, in the 1700s, a Scottish explorer, driven by curiosity and a thirst for discovery, arrives on the scene. He begins to excavate, and the desert slowly begins to surrender its prize. Before us rises a sandstone triumphal arch, towering 40 feet high, a mirror image of those that still stand proudly in Rome and Paris. An amphitheater emerges next, its stone seats echoing with the ghosts of ancient audiences. Then, remarkably well-preserved statues of Roman emperors are unearthed, their marble faces gazing out across the millennia. The Scotsman's discovery is so unbelievable that it is initially met with skepticism. It takes 2 more centuries, until the 1950s, for archaeologists to fully excavate the city. The site, stretching across an area as vast as 10 polo fields, reveals the full genius of Roman urban planning. Streets intersect at perfect right angles, forming an orthogonal grid, a layout that echoes even in modern metropolises like New York. Historians estimate that, in its prime, Timgad was home to 10,000 people, a melting pot of Romans and people of African descent. But the Sahara is ever present, a constant reminder of nature's power. Today, over 2.5 million people live in and around the Sahara, scattered across 11 countries. And their living space is shrinking. The desert is expanding, now 10% larger than it was a century ago. This isn't a sudden invasion of sand, it's a gradual transformation. Ecosystems on the desert's fringes slowly degrade. The wind carries away the topsoil, and vegetation withers, creating the ideal conditions for desertification. This process is most visible in the Sahel, a region bordering the Sahara to the south. In response, African nations have united in an ambitious project, the Great Green Wall. Their goal is to halt the desertification of the Sahel and push back the Sahara's relentless advance. The plan involves planting a vast wall of trees, stretching from the west to the east of the African continent. This proposed forest will be not only long, but also wide, a green barrier against the encroaching sands. The Sahara and the Sahel share a long and intertwined history. Since ancient times, camel caravans have traversed this harsh landscape, forging trade routes from the Mediterranean coast in the north to the savannas in the south. The golden age of this trade began in the 9th century. These journeys were perilous, often taking months to complete, and the routes were 2.5 times longer than the Grand Canyon. Even today, explorers stumble upon remnants of these ancient caravans, hidden beneath the shifting dunes. Now, let's shift our attention to the relentless heat. The world is getting hotter, but some regions have always battled extreme temperatures. Amazingly, people in ancient times devised ingenious ways to stay cool, some of which are still functioning even after 3,000 years. Let's explore how people throughout history have sought refuge from the scorching sun. Think about that ice cube in your drink, a modern luxury. Now, imagine the ancient Persians living in the heart of the desert, facing the challenge of preserving food in sweltering conditions. They conceived an innovative solution, an ice storage system. These ingenious Persians discovered a physics-based trick that allowed them to create ice in the middle of the desert. They called these structures yakchal, which translates to ice pit. These were not mere coolers. They were essentially underground refrigerators. From the outside, they appeared as dome-shaped mud brick structures. But inside, they housed a sophisticated evaporation cooling system. At night, when the desert air cooled, the Persians harnessed the radiative cooling effect. They created cleverly designed trenches to hold thin layers of water. This water would freeze, defying the surrounding heat. Beneath these trenches were underground square storage areas. The Persians collected the melting ice water and during the night froze it again, maximizing the desert's natural chill. To enhance the cooling effect, they built walls to shade the storage areas from the intense midday sun. And there was more. They used wind catchers, called badgear, to capture breezes and direct them into the ice pits. Fresh air combined with ice created a winning formula, a cool oasis in the heart of the desert. They even incorporated. Let's journey back in time, not to the age of dinosaurs, but to witness the ingenuity of ancient civilizations in the face of sweltering heat. Imagine ancient Persia, a land of scorching deserts and blazing sun. Here, the people devised ingenious methods to create ice and cool their homes. One such marvel was the yakhal, an ancient ice house. These weren't your modern refrigerators, mind you. These were massive, intricately designed structures. Picture a large domed building, often built partially underground, providing insulation against the relentless heat. They used intricate water channels, called qanats, to bring water from distant mountains to these ice pits and homes. Over time, the secrets of the yakhchal faded as modern technology emerged. But the story doesn't end there. Today, dedicated individuals in Iran are working to restore these ancient cooling wonders. If you ever find yourself in the desert, a visit to these marvels will give you a first-hand appreciation for the genius of the ancient Persians. But ice wasn't the only trick up their sleeves. Let's turn our attention to wind catchers, architectural marvels that did more than just chill water. They functioned as complete cooling systems. These weren't just local inventions. Back in the day, these clever structures were all the rage in Persia, modern-day Iran, Egypt, and throughout the Middle East. Envision tower-like structures, adorned with openings at strategic levels, designed to capture the slightest breeze. These openings acted like magical portals for the wind, channeling refreshing gusts directly into living spaces. They were, in essence, natural air conditioners. The breeze would gracefully flow downward, cooling the ground as it moved through the building. The secret to their effectiveness lay in the details: the tower's height, the number of sides, the placement of the openings, and the positioning of the interior blades. Each element played a crucial role in maximizing the wind tower's cooling power. Thanks to these wind catchers, ancient societies could enjoy comfortable indoor temperatures without the need for modern technology. Imagine living in those times, feeling the gentle breeze flowing through your home, keeping you cool and refreshed. The Persians are often credited with inventing these wind catchers, but don't overlook Egypt. Traces of similar structures have been found there, dating back to 3300 BCE. While the invention of wind catchers may have originated in ancient Egypt, Yazd in Iran boasts the largest concentration of these structures. In a region with almost no rainfall throughout the year, these ancient air conditioners were essential for survival. Now, let's examine perforated double-skinned exteriors. Picture a building adorned with a fancy perforated screen, a stylish makeover that also provides cooling. This ingenious technique serves multiple purposes. First, it scatters the harsh natural daylight, preventing blinding sunbeams. The screen also provides shade, shielding the building's interior from the scorching sun. Think of it as a natural sun hat for your home. Placing this screen approximately 4 feet away from the outer walls creates a breezy hallway, promoting fresh air circulation. And of course, these screens add a touch of elegance to the building's overall design. These structures are sometimes referred to as jali. Consider Jaipur, India, where the average daytime temperature hovers around 100 degrees Celsius. In such conditions, these structures are lifesavers. Jali come in various forms, crafted from cement, earth, and wood. They are a cultural symbol deeply embedded in Indian architecture. You can find captivating examples in iconic historical buildings like the majestic Taj Mahal and the Grand Red Fort in Delhi. But the Jali isn't just a relic of the past. It continues to thrive in modern architecture, inspiring artists and designers worldwide. Imagine a building's exterior adorned with intricate cross-sections, featuring larger openings on the outside and smaller ones on the inside. This is where the Venturi effect demonstrates its prowess. As air flows through the narrowing passage, its speed increases, creating a pressure difference between the inside and outside of the building. Air moving at a higher speed becomes compressed, and upon release, it cools down. Consider the mashrabiyah, a wooden lattice or screen used in the Middle East and North Africa. These decorative wonders are more than just window blinds. They offer privacy, shade from the sun, and allow fresh air and light to enter. Some designs incorporate clay pots filled with water, sand, or damp straw. As hot air passes through the holes, it also flows through the porous surface of the pot. The moisture inside evaporates, further cooling the air. This is a perfect low-cost technique for hot and dry climates. It's eco-friendly and requires no electricity. Now, let's leap forward to the present day. Designers are creatively blending traditional wisdom with modern technology. Take the Al Bar Towers in Abu Dhabi, for example. They feature over 2,000 hexagonal panels that move in response to the sun's position, providing dynamic shading and optimizing cooling. Imagine a world without air conditioning, a world where survival depended on understanding the subtle dance of sun and shadow. Ancient architects were masters of this art. They knew that strategic placement of windows could invite cooling breezes, while carefully positioned overhangs could offer vital shade from the relentless sun. Water was another crucial element. Evaporation, a simple yet remarkably effective technique, was widely employed. In ancient Egypt, they hung wet mats and curtains in doorways. As the air flowed through these damp barriers, it cooled, offering a welcome respite from the oppressive heat. These ancient builders were experts at maximizing airflow. They understood the principles of cross-ventilation, allowing hot air to escape while drawing in cooler air. Now, let's journey to ancient Rome, where the bathhouses or thermae were the social hubs of the day. Here, citizens gathered to discuss politics, engage in sports, and, of course, enjoy a relaxing soak. The frigidarium, a large icy pool, was a key feature of these bathhouses. After enduring the intense heat of the caldarium, Romans would plunge into the frigidarium for a refreshing chill. Elsewhere, in places like Cappadocia, Turkey, people sought refuge from the heat by carving dwellings into the volcanic rock. These subterranean homes harnessed the Earth's natural cooling properties, offering a sanctuary from the scorching temperatures above. The lesson here is clear. By blending local traditions with clever techniques, architects and designers can create remarkable solutions for coping with extreme heat. Consider Death Valley, California, which holds the record for the highest officially registered temperature, a blistering 134 degrees recorded in 1913. Africa's record stands at 131 degrees, measured in Kabylie, Tunisia, in 1931. In Europe, Sicily reached nearly 120 degrees in August 2021, and in 2022, the UK experienced its hottest summer on record. Now, imagine a real estate advertisement aimed at Neanderthals 100,000 years ago. Comfortable abode with stunning Mediterranean views, the perfect storm shelter. Of course, back then, neither real estate nor advertising existed. And while Neanderthals didn't build houses, they often sought shelter in caves. One particular cave, nestled within the Rock of Gibraltar, resembles a residential complex. Had Neanderthals possessed an economy, these caves would have commanded a premium price. Discovered in 1907, when navigators spotted a large opening in the fortified rock, this site has been the subject of intense scientific scrutiny for years. Researchers have unearthed ancient tools and animal bones, providing valuable insights into Neanderthal life. The most fascinating discovery was a series of 4 interconnected caves, a veritable residential complex where Neanderthals likely lived side by side, cooperating in hunting and fishing. Imagine them creating feather decorations and painting abstract designs on the cave walls. Today, scientists meticulously study the primeval past of Neanderthals within these very caves. In late 2021, archaeologists discovered a hidden passage leading to an unexplored chamber, sealed off from the outside world for over 40,000 years. This chamber, with its high ceilings and ancient stalactites, appears to have been a prestigious dwelling within the complex. Ruined stone formations suggest divisions into separate rooms. Animal remains and scratches on the walls hint that while Neanderthals may not have resided here permanently, they certainly visited. The discovery of a dog-whelk seashell suggests a connection to the sea, perhaps brought here by a Neanderthal for reasons unknown. The primary occupants of this space, however, were likely hyenas. These caves demonstrate that Neanderthals were more sophisticated than previously thought, exhibiting a way of life and even cultural customs. Much work remains, and scientists hope to uncover further chambers within the rock. Meanwhile, in 2003, archaeologists on the island of Flores in Indonesia unearthed another early dwelling. Deep within the lush jungle, they discovered a cave containing ancient tools. Initially, it was assumed these tools belonged to human ancestors. However, the discovery of an unusual skeleton challenged this assumption. Detailed analysis revealed that the skeleton belonged to a 30-year-old woman, a mere 3.5 feet tall, about the height of an average adult's waist. Her weight was comparable to that of a small dog. The skeleton was neither Neanderthal nor Australopithecine. It represented a new, unknown species, dubbed Homo floresiensis, or simply, the Hobbit. The cave also contained the remains of extraordinary ancient animals. An elephant the size of a cow, enormous storks, and giant rats. These findings suggest that Homo floresiensis. These subterranean realms, however, were not the domain of diminutive humanoids. The true masters of this underground world were rodents, colossal in size, rivaling domestic cats. One can only speculate on the clashes between these creatures and the hobbits. Analysis of Homo floresiensis remains suggests they were not directly ancestral to modern humans. Instead, they represent a distinct evolutionary offshoot. The skeletal structure of the hobbit bears a closer resemblance to that of ancient apes than to contemporary Homo sapiens. In 2009, deep within the impenetrable jungles of Vietnam, archaeologists stumbled upon Son Doong, the planet's most expansive cave system. Imagine standing within its colossal chamber, shouting into the echoing void, the reverberations lingering for what seems like an eternity. In certain sections, the cave's towering height reaches half the altitude of the iconic Empire State Building. Its total area eclipses an entire city block in the heart of New York City. Son Doong is but one segment of a network of 3 interconnected caves hidden beneath the Vietnamese jungle. A complex labyrinth of passages links these subterranean wonders. Within their depths, one discovers unique flora, trees, and plants evolving in isolation from the surface world. It's a veritable underground jungle. Here and there, collapsed ceilings puncture the darkness, allowing shafts of sunlight to penetrate the gloom. Alongside the strange vegetation, ancient stalactites cling to the ceilings. Some of these limestone formations predate even the dinosaurs, stretching back over 450 million years. Rivers course through the cave system, fed by rainwater that filters through openings in the roof. These swift-flowing streams carve natural slides, leading into uncharted labyrinths. To date, scientists have only scratched the surface of this vast cave complex. Our journey then takes us to New Zealand, where another extraordinary cave awaits. This one is home to hundreds of thousands of glowworms. Each tiny creature emits a soft, ethereal blue light. United, they transform the cave into a breathtaking spectacle. One might feel transported to an alien world. But this beauty is fragile. Sophisticated air monitoring equipment is ever present. Scientists vigilantly track carbon dioxide levels, vital for the glowworm's survival. These insects are incredibly sensitive to environmental changes. If the cave becomes too crowded or visitors linger for too long, park rangers must ask them to leave. It's as if they are literally stealing the air from these delicate creatures. We've witnessed caves of stunning beauty, but what about a cave of dread? Let's venture into the desolate Al-Mahra Governorate of Yemen. Our destination isn't precisely a cave, but a gaping black void in the desert floor. It's vast, roughly the size of a basketball court. But its size isn't the source of its terror. It's what lies within. Scientists remain uncertain about its true nature. A repugnant stench, like that of rotten eggs, constantly emanates from its unseen depths. And at times, chilling, unidentifiable sounds echo from below. The inky blackness of this colossal hole swallows all light, rendering its interior invisible, even with the most powerful lamps. Helicopters have flown over it. Drones equipped with advanced lenses have peered into the abyss. All have returned with nothing but images of impenetrable darkness. It resembles a massive ink blot staining the golden sands. Locals shun the place, believing it to be a gateway to another dimension, a realm inhabited by malevolent entities. Currently, this Yemeni sinkhole remains one of Earth's most enigmatic and least understood natural phenomena. How did it form? How old is it? Where does it lead? Scientists continue to seek answers. One theory suggests it resulted from geological surveys. Drilling for minerals in the vicinity may have destabilized the Earth's crust, leading to the surface collapse. But this remains unproven. Now, envision a place where sunlight has been absent for more than 5 million years. Oxygen is scarce, and the environment is perpetually cold and damp. Yet life persists. Not just microscopic organisms, but larger creatures as well. The conditions within this cave are radically different from those on the surface. In a sense, it's akin to an alien planet. This is Movil Cave, located in southeastern Romania, near the Black Sea. Its entrance is a modest hole in the ground. A narrow tunnel descends into the Earth's depths. Hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide levels are dangerously high. Oxygen levels are half those found above ground. Humans require oxygen masks to survive here, but the cave's unique inhabitants thrive. It is home to 48 distinct species, 33 of which are found nowhere else on Earth. Here, one encounters bizarre insects, albino snails, ghostly white spiders, millipedes adorned with enormous antennae, transparent shrimp, and unique species of leeches. Their existence hinges on chemosynthetic bacteria. These microscopic organisms consume carbon dioxide and release organic compounds. These bacteria, in turn, become the foundation of the cave's food web, sustaining the larger organisms. Imagine stepping back in time, unraveling one of the most captivating mysteries left to us by the legendary Cleopatra. Let's set the stage. Upon the death of her father, Ptolemy III, the throne of Egypt was seemingly shared between Ptolemy III and Cleopatra. Cleopatra, barely 18 years old, purportedly entered into marriage with her 10-year-old brother. Royal families of antiquity certainly operated under different rules, although concrete evidence of this union remains elusive. Regardless, this sibling alliance was short-lived. The young Ptolemy, hungry for absolute power, sought to oust Cleopatra. Forced into exile, Cleopatra didn't succumb to despair. Instead, she raised an army, poised to reclaim her birthright. By the age of 21, she found herself in the Sinai Desert, leading troops and strategizing her return to the throne. By this point, Cleopatra had already forged a powerful political and personal alliance with Julius Caesar. In June of 47 BC, she gave birth to a son, Ptolemy Caesar, often referred to as Caesarion, widely believed to be Caesar's offspring. However, this didn't deter her from adhering to Egyptian royal customs. She took a second husband, her other brother, Ptolemy X. Yes, despite her ongoing relationship with Caesar, Cleopatra married yet another sibling, driven by the imperative of keeping the throne within the family. Marriage notwithstanding, Cleopatra's connection with Caesar remained strong. She even journeyed to Rome with Ptolemy XIV for a state visit. Yet, instead of fulfilling the role of a dutiful queen, she resided in Caesar's private villa along the Tiber River. But after Julius Caesar met his end in 44 BC on the Ides of March, Cleopatra's political footing became precarious. Adding to her woes, her brother-husband, Ptolemy XIV, died soon after, with some suspecting Cleopatra's involvement, leaving her as the sole ruler of Egypt. Meanwhile, back in Rome, Mark Antony was ascending to power as Caesar's presumed successor. Eager to assess the Queen of Egypt, he summoned Cleopatra, and she certainly didn't disappoint. Arriving in grand style on a lavish barge, adorned as a deity, Cleopatra made a spectacular entrance. Antony was instantly captivated, so much so that he abandoned his third wife in Rome and followed Cleopatra to Alexandria, where their relationship blossomed into a full-blown royal romance. Together, they had 3 children. Together, they waged war against Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, in a struggle for control of the Roman Empire. The last glimpse of the queen depicts her in her mausoleum, resplendent in full royal regalia, a diadem upon her head, reclining on what Plutarch described as a golden couch. Following Antony and Cleopatra's defeat at Actium, Octavian's forces marched into Alexandria. Cleopatra, seemingly aware that her end was near, barricaded herself within her mausoleum, surrounded by gold, silver, pearls, and priceless artworks. Treasures she threatened to destroy rather than surrender to the Romans. Antony, unwilling to be captured alive by the Romans, turned his own sword upon himself. But before succumbing to his wounds, he was carried to Cleopatra's side. She cradled him as he breathed his last in her arms. A little over a week later, Cleopatra made her own fateful decision. Choosing to avoid the humiliation of being Octavian's prisoner, she ended her own life. Legend attributes her death to the bite of a deadly asp, though historical accounts remain somewhat ambiguous. At the time, Cleopatra was only 39 years old, a remarkable life indeed. Now, shifting our focus, recent discoveries by scientists near King Tutankhamun's tomb have unearthed ancient artifacts. It appears his prestigious final resting place bears a resemblance to a public cemetery, containing about a dozen wooden coffins dating back approximately 3,600 years. Perhaps that's a slight exaggeration. These 11 tombs weren't precisely adjacent to King Tut's, but they were nearby, in the vicinity of Luxor. These new discoveries within Egyptian tombs offer invaluable insights into life in ancient Egypt. And remarkably, ancient Egyptians appear to have shared many similarities with us, modern humans. It seems women have always cherished jewelry. Archaeologists recovered a beautifully crafted necklace featuring 30 amethyst beads, 2 agate beads, and a hippopotamus head amulet. Undoubtedly, it was all the rage back then. Researchers also unearthed 2 copper mirrors. One featured a handle shaped like a lotus flower, while the other was adorned with Hathor, the ancient Egyptian deity associated with the sky, women, fertility, and love. These recent excavations in close proximity to Tutankhamun's burial site led to another astonishing revelation. For the first time in millennia, fragments of Queen Hatshepsut's Valley Temple were uncovered. This dauntless woman is believed to be the second female pharaoh, ruling with both courage and wisdom, leaving behind a legacy as enduring as the very stones themselves. And those smaller creatures, in turn, become a meal for larger predators. Ultimately, sustenance flows through every level of this isolated ecosystem. Here, deep within the earth, evolution has sculpted a unique biological system entirely separate from the world above. Now let's journey back 1,000 years, to the heart of North America, near what is now St. Louis, Missouri. Imagine a vibrant, bustling city, Cahokia, the largest and most influential urban center of the Mississippian culture. At its zenith, around 1150 CE, Cahokia teemed with as many as 30,000 inhabitants, a population exceeding that of Paris at the time. But what sets Cahokia apart, intriguing archaeologists for generations, is the conspicuous absence of a large marketplace. While trade typically forms the backbone of any major city, Cahokia thrived on something different: culture, community, and grand celebrations. The people of Cahokia were renowned for throwing massive parties that could stretch for days. The city's most impressive feature was its sprawling 50-acre plaza, surrounded by monumental earthen pyramids. Picture this vast space filled with over 10,000 people, all gathered for festive occasions. Imagine the scene: dancing, the sharing of stimulating drinks brewed from local plants, feasts of roasted deer, and spirited betting on athletic contests. These events were nothing short of spectacular. Cahokians adorned themselves with elaborate costumes, styled their hair in striking ways, and decorated their bodies with intricate tattoos. Athletes competed in a game called chunky, hurling spears at a rolling stone disc, each striving to land closest to the target. The air crackled with the roar of the crowd, and performers showcased their remarkable skills. These celebrations were so extravagant that they left indelible traces in the archaeological record. After the festivities concluded, the Cahokians meticulously cleaned up, discarding leftovers into designated pits. Archaeologists have unearthed these refuse pits, finding them filled with food remains and fragments of pottery. One pit alone contained the bones of over 2,000 deer, a testament to the scale of a single event. They also discovered traces of yaupon holly, a caffeinated plant traded from hundreds of miles away, underscoring the extraordinary effort and resources invested in these celebrations. Imagine living in such a city, a place where community and revelry were paramount. But beyond the spectacle and merriment, Cahokia possessed a profound complexity and spirituality. The city was strategically built on a landscape that blended dry land with swampy patches. Many believe that this juxtaposition symbolized the connection between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. The people of Cahokia viewed their city as a bridge between these two worlds. They constructed earthen mounds, serving both as platforms for ceremonies and rituals, and as structural support for buildings. These mounds rose majestically from the surrounding swampy areas, while residential areas were concentrated on the drier ground. Elevated pathways connected these neighborhoods, creating a physical link between life and death. Isn't it a poignant reminder that some ancient metropolises, rivaling modern cities in scale and sophistication, have simply vanished from the map? Cahokia's story drew to a quiet close around 1350 CE, when the city was abandoned, likely due to a combination of environmental changes, severe weather, and devastating floods. Yet the influence of Cahokia was profound, extending to distant communities. Some of their traditions, such as the game of chunky and the use of yaupon holly, have survived within native communities to this day. Today, Cahokia stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to a remarkable civilization. And it is not the only megacity lost to the mists of time. Around 5,000 years ago, in the Indus Valley, people built some of the world's first cities. Mohenjo-Daro, located in modern-day Pakistan, was one such urban center. The city was established around 2500 BCE and quickly became a thriving hub of the Indus Valley civilization. While smaller than modern metropolises, it was quite sizable for its time, housing around 40,000 inhabitants. It appears that the residents of Mohenjo-Daro were remarkably disciplined and organized. The city's planning and infrastructure were truly exceptional. It was laid out in a precise grid pattern, with streets and major buildings aligned along a north-south axis, possibly to synchronize with the movements of the sun and moon. Furthermore, they developed one of the most advanced water and waste management systems of their era. The city boasted approximately 700 wells, with nearly every house having its own. Most homes also featured private bathrooms with sophisticated drainage systems and even underground sewers. This demonstrates the remarkable skill and attention to hygiene possessed by these ancient people. Interestingly, despite this high degree of organization and discipline, there appears to have been no evidence of kings, queens, or even a centralized government. Perhaps the city was governed by local elites or elected officials, rather than a traditional monarchy or theocracy. Instead, the people of Mohenjo-Daro seem to have valued simplicity and order, managing themselves through standardized practices. From the production of tools and pottery to the methods of trade, they adhered to consistent norms. This may explain why, unlike many other cities of the ancient world, Mohenjo-Daro, a city lost to time, didn't boast the majestic palaces or towering temples of other ancient civilizations. Instead, its heart lay in public spaces known as citadels. Imagine these citadels as the very soul of the city, the place where the people gathered for important rituals, crucial meetings, and the vital storage of grain, the lifeblood of the community. And from all indications, this way of life thrived. Archaeological digs have unearthed seals and weights, whispering tales of a well-regulated economy, a system of trade and commerce that kept the city running smoothly. The earth has also yielded intricate artifacts, delicate ivory carvings, shimmering lapis lazuli, vibrant carnelian beads, and gleaming gold jewelry, treasures that speak of a sophisticated society with skilled artisans. Perhaps the most iconic find is the small bronze statue, a lithe figure forever frozen in motion, known as the Dancing Girl, unearthed in 1926. Mohenjo-Daro was no impoverished settlement, far from it. Its inhabitants were also accomplished builders, leaving behind lasting monuments to their ingenuity. Cleanliness, it seems, was valued above ostentatious displays of wealth or power. This commitment to hygiene manifested in the Great Bath, one of the city's most celebrated structures. Picture a large, watertight pool, meticulously constructed with baked bricks, perched atop an earthen mound. It was almost a sacred place, the closest thing they had to a temple, a testament to the importance of ritual purification. The city itself was strategically built on a series of mounds, their height increasing over centuries, as generations added new houses and structures, layer upon layer of history. But what led to the city's ultimate demise? The answer remains shrouded in mystery. Archaeologists have been puzzled by the discovery of sculptures that appear to have been deliberately broken. Was this the work of invaders, or perhaps internal strife? Did later inhabitants intentionally deface these artifacts, erasing the past for some unknown reason? Some scientists speculate that the mighty Indus River, the life-giving artery of the region, may have shifted its course, disrupting agriculture and severing vital trade routes. Yet, there's no concrete evidence of a catastrophic flood or any other singular event that could explain the city's downfall. Instead, it appears that the entire Indus civilization simply faded away, its vibrancy slowly dimming over time. By 1900 BCE, the culture had irrevocably changed, leaving behind only whispers of its former glory. Now let's journey to the ancient city of Kos, located where the modern town of Kos now graces the Greek landscape. Imagine arriving by sea, the Aegean shimmering before you. The first sight to greet you would have been the sheer grandeur of its agora. This massive public square, constructed with stones of varying colors and arranged on terraces that rise impressively before you, was one of the largest in the ancient world. It would have made an unforgettable impression on anyone approaching the city, a testament to Kos's power and prosperity. This place boasts a rich history, stretching back to around 2300 to 2200 BCE. Imagine, long ago, the local people gathering from different corners of the island, uniting to forge a new city in the northeast. People have called this place home since the Bronze Age, and over time it blossomed into a vital center of culture and trade. And it's no wonder, given its prime location near a natural harbor, sheltered by two breakwaters. Here, the people of Kos erected some of their most important religious sites, including sanctuaries dedicated to Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and Hercules, the legendary hero of strength. Kos was not merely a place of beauty, it was also a marvel of urban design. The entire city was meticulously laid out in a grid pattern, with streets intersecting at perfect right angles. Picture it, almost like a modern city, planned with precision and foresight. This design ensured easy navigation, and the blocks, or insulae, were generously sized, accommodating several large houses. Kos remained largely unchanged until the 6th century CE. Over time, it gradually diminished in size, eventually confined within the walls of what is now the core neighborhood. Our journey now takes us to Palmyra, an ancient city that rose around a beautiful oasis sometime around the 3rd millennium BCE. Originally known as Tadmor, the city thrived as a crucial stop on the Silk Road, forging a vital link between the Near East and the vast expanse of Asia. It became a vibrant hub of trade and culture, a melting pot of ideas and goods. Imagine a bustling marketplace, grand assembly buildings, and imposing gates. This place was alive with activity, a testament to human ingenuity and ambition. Throughout its long history, Palmyra passed through many hands, from the Byzantine Empire to various Arab caliphates. This tumultuous past has left its mark on the city's architecture, resulting in a fascinating blend of Greco-Roman, Persian, and Arabic influences. Consider the Temple of Bel, the Great Colonnade, and the Roman-style theater, each structure a testament to the diverse cultures that shaped Palmyra. But like so many ancient cities, time took its toll. Palmyra's importance waned, and by the early 1400s, it had been largely destroyed. Yet, its ruins endure, a haunting reminder of its former glory. Today, they stand as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to the enduring power of the past. Imagine a lost temple slumbering beneath the sands for millennia. Now, picture its ancient doors creaking open, revealing secrets of a time when gods were real, power was absolute, and spiritual devotion shaped every facet of life. Here, archaeologists have unearthed a treasure trove. Over 1,000 exquisitely carved stone blocks scattered around the perimeter of Hatshepsut's magnificent temple. This was a time when only a handful of women dared to claim the throne of Egypt, a testament to Hatshepsut's unparalleled ambition and influence. Nearby, another tomb yields its secrets. This one belonged to Yots, the overseer of Queen Tedishare's palace, a man entrusted with the queen's most intimate affairs. Queen Hatshepsut, it seems, desired more than one resting place. These tombs, hewn directly into the living rock, stand in stark contrast to the towering pyramids of old. They represent a unique ancient perspective on safeguarding the soul's journey into the afterlife, a journey fraught with peril and demanding the utmost protection. From this sacred site, experts have recovered remarkable artifacts. Clay toys, remnants of childhood joy. Intricately painted mummy masks, preserving the likeness of the deceased. Winged scarabs, symbols of rebirth and eternal life, and countless amulets, each imbued with protective magic. One can only imagine what treasures have been lost to time. Over the centuries, long before the arrival of modern archaeologists, others stumbled upon these hidden chambers. Looters, driven by greed, likely plundered countless valuables, leaving behind only fragments of the past. Yet even in their wake, treasures remain. Pottery shards, once holding offerings of bread and meat for the departed. Archers' bows, linking the tomb's occupants to the mighty Egyptian military, guardians of the realm. In this era, protecting the soul was paramount, especially when venturing into places like Luxor, where ancient secrets lie waiting to be discovered. Are you brave enough to face the curse of King Tut? Let me tell you the tales of those who scoffed at the warnings, but listen closely and take it with a grain of salt. For years, Egyptologists, particularly those with a penchant for the paranormal, whispered of a malevolent curse surrounding the archaeological discoveries in Tutankhamun's tomb. This belief arose from the untimely and unexplained deaths of several excavators who first entered the tomb in 1922. With no logical explanation readily available, it was easier to attribute their demise to supernatural forces, a convenient explanation to avoid delving into the unknown. But the truth, it turns out, may be far more grounded and far more terrifying. It wasn't a curse, but radiation that claimed those lives. Where did this deadly radiation originate? While radioactivity was discovered in the 19th century, the ancient Egyptians, despite their architectural marvels, had no access to radium to illuminate Tut's tomb. The answer may lie in something far more sinister: toxic waste. For over 3,000 years, lethal levels of radiation from uranium and other hazardous materials have permeated the tomb, sealed within its walls. The burial chamber of Tutankhamun is rumored to possess such extreme radiation levels that anyone who dares to enter risks a fatal dose of radiation sickness or an incurable ailment. Imagine the lingering danger, a silent killer lurking in the shadows. You can get a similar dose of radioactivity if you don't get rid of those moldy dinner leftovers you left to perish in your fridge a month ago. But this isn't exclusive to Tutankhamun's tomb. Ancient Egyptian artifact discovery is rewarding yet dangerous due to unusually high radiation levels in Old Kingdom tombs all over Egypt. Geiger counters have detected radiation at 2 sites near the Giza pyramids, and radon, a radioactive gas, has been found in several underground tombs in Saqqara. Intriguingly, evidence suggests that the builders of these ancient tombs were aware of the deadly toxins they contained. Eerie warnings were carved into the walls of many tombs, chilling testaments to the dangers within. One inscription ominously declared, "They that break this tomb shall meet their end by a malady that no doctor can diagnose." Other phrases hinting at forbidden zones and malevolent spirits amplified the fear surrounding these ancient sites. Ominous signs have been stunning archaeologists since forever. But the fear grew even stronger a century ago with the mysterious passing of Lord Carnarvon, who funded King Tut's excavation in 1922 and reportedly explored the treasure films along with several others who entered the tomb. Arthur Weigel, another British Egyptologist present at the tomb's opening and credited with popularizing the curse myth, died young in 1934, at the age of 50. It's possible that his death was linked to radiation exposure. In total, 6 of the 26 individuals present at the tomb's opening met their demise within a decade, succumbing to various causes, not solely X-ray exposure. These included asphyxia, stroke, heart failure, pneumonia, and even poisoning. Isn't this getting a little grim? However, one man defied the infamous curse: Howard Carter, the lead archaeologist. Some point to his survival as proof that the curse was nothing more than a myth. After unearthing the legendary Howard Carter, having survived the perils of uncovering Tutankhamun's tomb, transitioned from archaeology to curating antiquities for various museums. But whispers followed him, tales of a curse manifesting in unexpected ways. One persistent rumor intertwined him with Lord Carnarvon's daughter, Evelyn. Some claimed a deep, unrequited love fueled his lifelong bachelorhood, while others spoke of a clandestine affair in Egypt, abruptly ended by her father's death and her subsequent departure. However, concrete evidence remained elusive. Evelyn was merely a child of 6 when they first met, and their bond remained platonic until Carter's final days. She was present at his funeral, yet firmly denied any romantic involvement, stating their relationship wasn't intimate. A year after the monumental discovery, Evelyn married the politician Sir Brograve Beauchamp, bearing him a daughter. That same year, Beauchamp, accompanied by his parents, toured the tomb under Carter's personal guidance. Carter remained unmarried throughout his life, and, aside from the Evelyn rumors, no other romantic entanglements surfaced. While the curse adds a dramatic flair to his narrative, his preference for keeping relationships at a distance predated the tomb's opening. He simply wasn't a people person. In 1939, after a prolonged illness, Howard Carter passed away at the age of 64, a typical lifespan for the time in the UK. His death wasn't immediately attributed to any ancient malediction. However, upon his death, several artifacts from Tutankhamun's tomb were discovered in his London apartment. These were returned to Egypt, an act some interpreted as breaking the curse. Perhaps had he not kept those ancient souvenirs, his life might have been longer. The other deaths surrounding the excavation seemed too coincidental to dismiss. The curse theory gained momentum, fueled by a series of bizarre events. Carnarvon suffered a mosquito bite that spiraled into a severe infection. Around the time of the tomb's opening, Cairo was plunged into darkness during an uncharacteristic sandstorm. Back in England, the Earl's dog, Susie, escaped Carnarvon's estate and began barking wildly at seemingly nothing, at least according to the staff and family. Then, in a chilling moment, her owner's heart ceased beating. Susie, as if mirroring her master's fate, collapsed, lifeless. Perhaps radiation wasn't the culprit after all. Could the artifacts from King Tut's tomb be the reason for their demise? A chilling thought indeed. Imagine traveling back to November 1922. A young boy wanders through the desolate, sun-baked mountains of Egypt. He stumbles upon ancient steps, weathered and worn, carved into the very rock face. Unbeknownst to him, this seemingly insignificant find would blossom into one of the world's most monumental archaeological discoveries. These steps led to the untouched tomb of Tutankhamun. Within its sealed chambers, archaeologists unearthed approximately 5,000 ancient objects, dazzling jewelry, delicate fabrics, intricately painted vases, and, most famously, the iconic funeral mask. You've undoubtedly seen it, one of the most recognizable symbols of ancient Egypt. Now, more than a century later, humanity stands on the precipice of another potentially groundbreaking discovery: the tomb of Cleopatra. This legendary queen, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, reigned from 51 to 30 BCE. Numerous ancient texts chronicle Cleopatra's life, her rule, and her captivating personality. Yet, the mystery of her death and burial place has remained unsolved. For decades, Dr. Kathleen Martinez, an archaeologist, has meticulously studied ancient records and temples around Alexandria. Her research has led her to believe that Cleopatra's tomb lies beneath the ancient city of Taposiris Magna, founded in 280 BCE. Taposiris Magna was a sprawling metropolis on Egypt's northern coast, a hub of trade and industry for tens of thousands of people. It appears Dr. Martinez's instincts are proving correct. She and her team have discovered a hidden underground tunnel near Alexandria, stretching nearly a mile. This tunnel was carved into the bedrock beneath the temple of Taposiris Magna. Further excavations have yielded a wealth of artifacts, suggesting that Cleopatra's tomb lies deep within the tunnel's embrace. Intriguingly, it's possible that Cleopatra is buried alongside her lover, the Roman commander Mark Antony. Ancient accounts tell of their passionate romance and their joint resistance against the Roman Senate, which branded Antony a traitor. However, the passage of millennia has not been kind to Taposiris Magna. Natural disasters, earthquakes, and floods have ravaged the city, complicating the ongoing excavations. The secrets of Cleopatra's final resting place remain tantalizingly close, yet shrouded in the mists of time. Imagine, if you will, a sweltering Egyptian landscape, the sands whispering tales of pharaohs long past. Here, archaeologists are engaged in a desperate race against time, battling against the rising water table that threatens to engulf an ancient tomb. Could this be the final resting place of Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt? It's a tantalizing prospect, though the relentless floodwaters may have already infiltrated the subterranean passages, obscuring the secrets within. But hope remains. The archaeologists cling to the belief that the central tomb chamber has remained untouched, a time capsule brimming with invaluable artifacts and insights into the opulent royal life of Egypt's final dynasty. To reach it, they may have to delve into a murky, underwater world, a challenging and costly endeavor. Yet the potential rewards, the unearthing of history itself, make it a risk worth taking. While definitive proof remains elusive, the evidence unearthed thus far offers compelling clues. Scattered amongst the silt and sand are countless clay pots, a veritable treasure trove of coins bearing the likenesses of Cleopatra and Alexander the Great, and even a bust that appears to depict the enigmatic Egyptian queen herself. Cleopatra, even now, remains an icon in Egypt, her name spoken with the same reverence as that of Ramesses III or Tutankhamun. Her story has been told countless times, inspiring countless films, paintings, and books. But what is the source of this enduring fascination? Perhaps it lies in her multifaceted nature, her captivating blend of strengths and contradictions. She was renowned for her intelligence, a shrewd and capable ruler who steered Egypt through turbulent times, transforming it into a prosperous and influential power. Medieval Arabic texts paint a portrait of a polymath, a scholar versed in chemistry, mathematics, and philosophy, even suggesting she may have penned several scientific treatises. She was also a gifted linguist, fluent in numerous languages, and a skilled diplomat, adept at navigating the complex web of international relations. Yet, alongside this image of intellectual prowess, there exists a darker, more alluring legend. That of a femme fatale, a bewitching seductress who drove men to madness. However, concrete evidence of her unparalleled beauty is scarce. The image of Cleopatra as a stunning beauty is largely a creation of Hollywood, perpetuated by the actresses who have portrayed her on the silver screen. Moreover, Octavian, the Roman emperor and adopted son of Julius Caesar, deliberately cultivated the image of Cleopatra as an insidious temptress, a tool in his propaganda war against her. Despite being born on Egyptian soil, Cleopatra's lineage was not Egyptian. Her ancestors were Greek, descended from one of Alexander the Great's generals. Yet, she embraced Egyptian culture with fervor, earning the affection of her people. She mastered the Egyptian language and immersed herself in the country's traditions. She possessed a deep understanding of its history, customs, and mentality. Through cunning and charisma, she elevated Egypt's economy and solidified its position as a global power. Cleopatra was a master of spectacle, a lover of theatrical performances and extravagant celebrations. She possessed a knack for surprising people, for creating a memorable impression. But beneath the dazzling facade of a luxury-loving queen lay a sharp, calculating mind. Ancient Egypt was a land of immense wealth and opulence, and Cleopatra was determined to augment its riches and bolster its standing on the world stage. Consider her conflict with her brother, Ptolemy XIII, Theos Philopator. Recognizing her inability to defeat him militarily, she sought the support of Julius Caesar. The Roman emperor journeyed to Alexandria, where Cleopatra planned to meet him. But Ptolemy, aware of her intentions, sought to prevent her from reaching Caesar. Rather than staging a grand, ostentatious arrival, Cleopatra opted for a more subtle approach. She had herself wrapped in a carpet, or perhaps a linen bag, which was then carried into Caesar's private chambers by his servants. Emerging from the carpet, she captivated the Roman emperor with her beauty and resolve, forging an alliance that would alter the course of history. Later, she employed similar tactics to win over another influential Roman, Mark Antony. She arrived to meet him aboard a magnificent golden barge, its purple sails billowing in the wind, propelled by silver oars. Cleopatra was adorned in the guise of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, seated beneath a lavish canopy. Her servants, dressed as cupids, fanned her and burned incense, creating an atmosphere of divine allure. Cleopatra understood that Antony revered Greek mythology and saw himself as the embodiment of Dionysus. Her carefully crafted performance was designed to appeal to his sensibilities, and it worked. Antony was utterly captivated, ultimately marrying her and solidifying their alliance. Together they reigned over Egypt, indulging in lavish celebrations and wielding immense power. However, their relationship sparked outrage in Rome. Octavian, Antony's chief rival in the power struggle for control of the Roman Empire, seized the opportunity to undermine his opponent. He launched a propaganda campaign, portraying Cleopatra as an insidious seductress who had ensnared Antony with her charms. The Roman Senate, swayed by Octavian's rhetoric, declared Cleopatra an enemy of the state. In 31 BCE, the conflict reached its zenith when Antony's navy clashed with Octavian's fleet in the Battle of Actium. Octavian emerged victorious, forcing Antony and Cleopatra to flee to Egypt. According to historical accounts, they sought refuge near Alexandria, pursued relentlessly by the Roman legions. Hiding within one of Cleopatra's palaces, they met their tragic end. Legend has it that Cleopatra— Imagine for a moment the final hours of a queen. Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, a woman shrouded in mystery even in her death. Legend whispers of her expertise with poisons, that she might have even provoked a venomous serpent, a viper, or perhaps the iconic Egyptian cobra, to deliver a fatal bite. Another tale suggests she carried poison hidden within a needle, ready for a swift and silent demise. Picture her, cornered, desperately soaking the needle and ending her own life. But these are just theories, whispers in the sands of time. Scientists continue their quest to uncover the truth. Perhaps one day, Cleopatra's tomb will be found, revealing the secrets surrounding her tragic fate. With her passing, an era ended. Octavian, the future emperor of Rome, seized her treasures, plundering her palaces and temples before returning to Rome to claim his imperial throne. He ruled successfully, expanding the empire's reach until his death at the age of 75. Consider how different world history might be if Cleopatra and Mark Antony had won that fateful naval battle. It's a stunning realization. More time separates Cleopatra's reign from Neil Armstrong's moon landing than from the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Armstrong's small step on the lunar surface occurred in 1969 AD, a full 38 years after Cleopatra's birth. The pyramids, however, were erected around 2560 BC. Just imagine the vastness of ancient Egyptian history. Cleopatra is closer to us in time than she was to the builders of those colossal monuments. Now, let's journey to the northern coast of Egypt, where the ancient city of Taposiris Magna lies hidden. Today, little remains of its former glory, but beneath the surface, it may hold the key to unlocking one of history's greatest mysteries: the final resting place of Cleopatra, the most unforgettable queen of Egypt. A recently discovered tunnel, hailed as a geometric marvel for its time, offers a tantalizing clue. Excavations have revealed a 43-foot-long structure, partially submerged in water, its design and construction echoing that of the Tunnel of Eupalinos, another incredible feat of ancient engineering located in Greece. This Greek tunnel, built by excavating simultaneously from 2 points in the hope that they would meet in the middle, showcases an astonishingly precise application of mathematics and geometry. Imagine the skill required to achieve such accuracy, especially considering its proximity to a mountain. Archaeologists working at the Taposiris Magna site since 2004 believe that this newly discovered tunnel may indeed lead to Cleopatra's lost tomb. The evidence they've gathered so far seems to support this theory. The city and its temple were built by Ptolemy II, one of Cleopatra's ancestors. The architecture suggests a dedication to the ancient deities Osiris and Isis. Cleopatra, throughout her reign, associated herself with Isis, making this location a plausible choice for her final resting place. While the precise location of Cleopatra's tomb remains elusive, the search continues, aided by modern technology. Archaeologists are employing ground-penetrating radar, a remarkable tool that allows them to analyze what lies beneath the surface without disturbing the delicate remains. Given the age of the tunnel, careful research is paramount. The ability to visualize the underground structures before excavation, a practice in use since 2011, is invaluable. The discovery of Cleopatra's tomb could finally complete the puzzle of her life, particularly the circumstances surrounding her death, which remains shrouded in mystery. Was she bitten by a venomous cobra, as legend suggests? Or was she, as some theories propose, familiar with toxic substances, perhaps even concealing them in her hairbrush for a moment of desperate need? Beyond the mystery of her death, we know of many other fascinating details of Cleopatra's life. She had a stylist, for example. Most depictions of the queen show her wearing distinctive black eyeliner, a look created by Ias, her personal beautician. Is meticulously applied the liner, extending the line from her eyes to her temples, a technique still used today to enhance the eyes. Is was a confidant and close friend, a constant presence in Cleopatra's life. Some even speculate that Is was by Cleopatra's side during her final moments. Interestingly, despite her carefully crafted image, recent research suggests that Cleopatra may not have been as conventionally beautiful as she is often portrayed. While movies and modern imagery depict her as a stunning woman with symmetrical features, coins bearing her image. Let's journey back in time to ancient Egypt, to an era dominated by one of history's most fascinating figures, Cleopatra. While modern depictions often focus on her beauty, historical accounts suggest her appearance was rather ordinary. The images of her on ancient coins may have even been intentionally altered to project an image of strength and authority to her people. Indeed, reliable sources to definitively confirm her physical appearance remain elusive. Ancient texts tend to emphasize qualities beyond mere beauty, highlighting her captivating voice and magnetic personality. Cleopatra, though the most famous Egyptian queen, wasn't initially destined for the throne. Her older sister Berenice was the original heir, but her untimely death paved the way for Cleopatra's ascent. Upon assuming her royal duties, Cleopatra, with astute foresight, dedicated herself to rigorous education. She embarked on frequent travels throughout her kingdom, immersing herself in the lives and needs of her people. Only 18 years old when she inherited the throne, she rapidly gained popularity due to her sharp intellect and extensive knowledge. Her literary tastes were notably refined. She was an avid admirer of Homer, the celebrated Greek poet and philosopher. Cleopatra herself possessed a passion for writing, and legends even whisper of a book she penned on medicine and cosmetics. However, concrete evidence of such a work remains lost to time. In those days, a hallmark of a great leader was multilingualism. Cleopatra recognized this imperative, and rumor has it she mastered numerous languages to varying degrees. Some archaeologists propose she spoke Greek, Egyptian, and Ethiopian, along with several Arabic dialects. Whether she spoke Latin remains a subject of debate, with limited evidence to support the claim. While perhaps not possessing conventional beauty, Cleopatra was meticulous about her appearance. Her diet, for instance, favored simplicity with a preference for various types of fish, a natural choice given her proximity to the Mediterranean Sea. As a delicacy, she savored stuffed pigeons, often serving them to her esteemed guests. Her menus also featured an array of vegetables and hearty fava bean soup. Fruits and nuts were staples, and she held a particular fondness for honey. Intriguingly, a team of modern experts recently attempted to recreate Cleopatra's legendary perfume. Imagine, if you will, the ancient equivalent of Chanel No. 5. Cleopatra believed that luxurious scents influenced how people perceived and treated her. The perfume's base was myrrh, a resin harvested from a local tree. Other ingredients included cardamom, olive oil, and cinnamon, all readily available in her time. The resulting fragrance was likely far more potent and long-lasting than modern perfumes, boasting a thicker consistency and more assertive aroma. At the zenith of her power, Cleopatra may have been the wealthiest individual on the planet. Her realm stretched across the Mediterranean, encompassing territory from modern-day Libya in the west, through Egypt and all the way to Syria in the east. This was the most expansive territory ever governed by a woman in antiquity. Her net worth, in today's currency, could have reached an astounding $95 billion. Even the calendars we use today may owe a debt to Cleopatra. She introduced the concept of leap years and leap days to Julius Caesar, the Roman emperor with whom she shared a close relationship. Heeding her counsel, Caesar incorporated these adjustments into the official Roman calendar. The ancient Egyptians had already discerned that the year extended slightly beyond 365 days, a discovery made through observing Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. Their calculations revealed that a year is approximately 365 and 1/4 days long. Cleopatra's image was famously immortalized in pop culture by Elizabeth Taylor, who portrayed her in the epic 1963 film Cleopatra. At the time, it was the most expensive movie ever made. Initially budgeted at around $2 million, the production spiraled to a staggering $44 million, largely due to script revisions and production challenges. To bring this iconic story to life, the filmmakers constructed 79 elaborate sets from scratch and created over 26,000 costumes for the cast. Elizabeth Taylor's wardrobe alone cost approximately $200,000. Fortunately for the studio, the film generated significant buzz and positive reviews, ultimately becoming a box office triumph. Many people mistakenly associate Cleopatra with another famous Egyptian ruler, the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun, often called King Tut. However, aside from their shared Egyptian heritage, they have little in common. King Tut lived roughly 1,300 years before Cleopatra, and there is no ancestral connection between them. Cleopatra's lineage was Macedonian Greek, while King Tut was of native Egyptian descent. So, imagine two completely different eras and bloodlines. Imagine you're a teenager, just 15 years old, and boredom has set in. Video games have lost their appeal. Looking for something to fill the time, you decide to revisit an old, peculiar hobby: tracking down lost Mayan cities. Rumors have always swirled that these ancient civilizations constructed their grand cities according to the patterns of the stars, mirroring constellations in the heavens. Intrigued, you decide to investigate whether this was true for the Mayans. You locate a weathered book, its pages filled with the constellations recognized by the Mayan civilization. Next, you fire up Google Maps, plotting the locations of every known ancient Mayan city discovered to date. As you meticulously compare the two sets of data, a startling pattern begins to emerge. It appears that the largest and most significant Mayan cities align with the brightest and most prominent stars within the Mayan constellations. This is more than just a coincidence, it's a potential breakthrough. Driven by this discovery, you map out over 100 ancient cities. Suddenly, something peculiar catches your eye. In the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, archaeologists have already unearthed 2 Mayan cities. Yet, according to your constellation map, there should be 3 stars in that particular celestial grouping. Could it be? Is there a long-lost city waiting to be rediscovered, hidden somewhere in the dense jungles nearby? This might sound like a fanciful daydream, but the story is remarkably true. This is what happened to William Gadoury, a Canadian teenager. He is a recognized science prodigy and even received an award for the very constellation theory we're discussing. When he noticed that a 3rd city was missing from the 23rd constellation he was examining, he began an intensive search of the internet for satellite imagery that could provide answers. He scoured images from NASA, JAXA, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and even Google Earth. But these images proved insufficient to confirm his suspicions. Undeterred, William reached out to a friend working at the Canadian Space Agency. This friend provided him with cutting-edge satellite imagery, offering the clarity he desperately needed. The images revealed a large square area situated on the border between Mexico and Belize. The distinct shape suggested the unmistakable remains of a city. William shared these images with Dr. Armin Laro, a remote sensing expert from the University of New Brunswick. Together, they meticulously studied the images. Their conclusion was staggering. The area appeared to contain as many as 30 buildings, including what looked like a massive pyramid. The scientific and archaeological community buzzed with excitement over the 15-year-old's potential discovery. Could this really be a lost Mayan city, hidden for centuries beneath the jungle canopy? Lost Mayan cities have been slowly rediscovered since the mid-19th century. Ruins of famous cities such as Tikal, Palenque, and Huachactun have been brought back to light. The Mayans were one of the most significant pre-Columbian civilizations in the Americas. They began settling the region as early as 1500 BCE. Experts estimate that, at its peak, the Mayan civilization consisted of over 40 cities, with a population numbering in the millions. Their cities were remarkable feats of engineering and design. The Mayan civilization stretched across Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, and Belize. They were primarily an agricultural society, developing complex irrigation systems to sustain their populations. They constructed elaborate ceremonial buildings, towering pyramids, expansive plazas, and even dedicated courts for playing ritual ball games. The Mayans were not only skilled pyramid builders, but also possessed an advanced understanding of astronomy. With the limited technology available to them, they were able to accurately predict the positions of planets like Venus and Mars, and even forecast the precise dates of eclipses. Therefore, the methodology used by William to discover this long-lost Mayan city, while unusual, wasn't entirely implausible. The Mayans were keen observers of the heavens. It wouldn't be surprising if they aligned their major architectural achievements with the stars. They wouldn't be the first to do so. A dedicated fringe of Egyptology focuses on how the Giza pyramids were built in perfect alignment with the Orion constellation. Each pyramid was deliberately positioned to correspond with one of the major stars in Orion's belt. According to William, the idea to investigate Mayan constellations came to him because he couldn't understand why the Mayans built their cities where they did. Major cities like Chichen Itza and Uxmal aren't located near rivers or significant bodies of water. Instead, they were built on marginal lands and atop mountains, which puzzled the young researcher. He theorized that astronomy might hold the key. William named the new city Mouth of Fire and even received an award for his work. However, his theory faced considerable opposition from within the archaeological community. Many Mayan experts worked to debunk his findings, arguing that constellation theories can be easily manipulated to fit preconceived notions. Critics argued that his methods lacked scientific rigor. Anthony Aveni, a respected anthropologist and astronomer, even described Williams's approach as an exercise in creative imagination, emphasizing the lack of certainty regarding the true nature of Mayan constellations. It's all speculation. Further skepticism came from Mayanist David Stewart, who suggested that the object identified in satellite imagery was simply an old cornfield. An expedition to the area in 2021 seemed to support this claim, with archaeologists reporting no significant findings. Yet, the idea of uncovering lost Mayan cities continues to captivate, especially considering the potential for success. Imagine a teenager on the verge of a major discovery. Techniques similar to those used by Williams are indeed revolutionizing archaeology. Space archaeologist Sarah Park highlights the pivotal role of satellite imagery in uncovering ancient cities in regions like Egypt. Her work involves meticulously examining images for subtle signs of buried settlements. The principle is simple. Anything buried beneath the surface, be it under vegetation, soil, sand, or modern construction, leaves a trace. To penetrate dense vegetation, infrared technology is employed. A remarkable discovery in Brazil exemplifies this. Satellite imagery revealed a network of trenches dating back to 200 to 1200 CE, hinting at settlements that may have housed around 60,000 people. Crucially, in this instance, the satellite data was confirmed by ground investigations. Researchers from the University of Florida unearthed mounds, ditches, and geoglyphs. They also found remnants of carefully constructed walls surrounding plazas, reminiscent of ancient Mayan architecture. Furthermore, advances in satellite technology have provided new insights into well-known Mayan cities like Tikal. Nestled deep within the Guatemalan jungle, Tikal is believed to have been the capital of the ancient Mayan Empire. At its zenith, Tikal rivaled the importance of modern cities like London or New York. Its landscape was dominated by elaborate monuments, many thought to be the final resting places of Mayan kings and leaders. We already knew Tikal was vast, but recent discoveries suggest it was even larger than initially estimated, perhaps 3 times the size. This revelation stems from the discovery of a fortification on the city's outskirts, indicating the true extent of Tikal's original boundaries. And the discoveries continue. In 2017, researchers uncovered new clues about the possible reasons behind the Mayan civilization's decline. By analyzing radiocarbon data from ceramics and archaeological sites near Cibol, located about 62 miles southwest of Tikal, scientists gleaned insights into the civilization's demise. The evidence suggests that the Mayan civilization didn't collapse suddenly, but rather through waves of social unrest and political turmoil. These events likely weakened Mayan city centers, leading to the dispersal of the population. So, it seems like now is the perfect time to go treasure hunting for ancient ruins. Will you give it a try? Now, another question. Could Atlantis be real? It remains one of history's greatest enigmas. The legend originated with Plato in ancient Greece, a tale of a civilization that thrived long before our own. Atlantis was supposedly a technologically advanced society, much like the Mayans. However, according to the legend, their greed led to their downfall, punished by a devastating flood that submerged their cities. Various theories attempt to pinpoint Atlantis's location, some placing it in the Mediterranean Sea, others beneath the Bermuda Triangle. However, science suggests that Atlantis may be simply an allegory for humanity. Today, we journey to real underwater cities, places that truly existed, not mere myths. Our first stop, Baiae, an underwater city off the coast of Italy. Known as the Las Vegas of the Roman Empire, Baiae was a resort city where the Roman elite flocked for leisure. Imagine a sprawling open-air spa. That was Baiae. Now, you can explore this submerged city by scuba diving, getting up close to remarkably preserved Roman sculptures, a true underwater marvel. Or observe the crumbling temples and buildings through glass-bottom boats.